everyone. Thank you for joining us on this edition of the Primetime Newscast on Equinoxe Television, live from our headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital. Well, my name is Pablo Jonathan, and our top stories at this news are within the framework of the fight against the worsening socio-political and security situation in the northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon. Elements of the security and defense forces in those parts of the country, particularly in the northwest region, are enhancing their capacity to detect and detonate explosive devices. It should be noted that armed separatist fighters have been using explosive devices to kill elements of the national armed forces and civilians within the context of the worsening 6-year-long armed conflict. And in the southwest region of the country, the Customs Administration is striving to improve on the working conditions of the officials who are working in that part of the country in a difficult situation. And in South Africa, the death toll of the flood in Durban has now gone above 300, and many survivors are homeless. Now to the northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon. We begin with this report compiled by our northwest correspondent Bo Stella on efforts to restore peace and normalcy in the crisis-stricken region. And of course, the military is reinforcing the capacity of security and defense forces, the soldiers, in the detection and detonation of explosive devices used by non-state armed groups fighting in the northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon. Some of them were put through a training recently, and it has been revealed that the number of destruction caused by explosive devices has reduced in recent times. Mustafa has more.
Between October 2021 and April 5, 2022, 4,627 cases of cholera and 105 deaths have been recorded in 6 regions of Cameroon. These figures and the images circulating on the social media are just enough to cause panic and make the population believe every information they see regarding treatment. The consumption of lemon water to prevent and instantly treat cholera is one of such messages widely shared on various social media platforms. Dr. Denis Same, director of the Bamenda Regional Hospital, tells Equinoxe Television that the prevention of cholera is far from drinking lemon water solution.
Lemon is good, but it is not a treatment per se. So I would advise that we should avoid using food or fruit. We have time, so these mango seasons are coming. We find children picking mangoes from the ground and just eating. Make sure that these fruits are well washed. We should avoid using water from doubtful source. We should not see rain and then our toilets are full. We start pouring it into the streams. That is very dangerous.
Another claim with an untraceable author states that children can ingest a tablet of doxycycline 100 milligrams for 5 days, while adults can ingest a tablet of 200 to 300 milligrams of the same drug for 5 days in order to treat themselves. But public health experts say not all diarrheas are cholera, and therefore treatment depends on test results.
Self-medication in a cholera situation is not the best. You should go to the nearest hospital and let the diagnosis be made first, because you might just be taking a medication that might even kill you even before the cholera kills you.
But how much of a problem is health fake news in Cameroon?
It's been on the rise because with COVID-19, many people have been afraid to go to hospitals for fear of being declared COVID positive. We are also seeing lack of access to health facilities. We're seeing people who don't have health insurance, so they can't easily treat themselves. which means their purchasing power is very low. All of these, they turn out to alternative solutions which can be very fertile.
Cholera is a bacterial disease causing severe diarrhea and dehydration. It is usually spread through contaminated food and water. With fake news relating to health gaining grounds online as well as offline, digital rights activists Pedmia Shetu appeals for all to check the facts.
It is very important at this particular point in time when we're still facing the traces of cholera for us all to first of all use our brain. Start asking yourself the ecosystem of the message. Where is it coming from? Who are those talking about it? Even if many people are talking about it, doesn't make it right.
Prevention is better than cure is a saying familiar to many. Public health experts therefore advise the population to defecate in latrines, wash their hands, drink potable water, and report to the nearest health facility in case of any complications, as this will enable follow-up.
Bustela reporting there on issues concerning health and particularly cholera and the fear of a possible cholera outbreak in the northwest region of the country, added to the problem of inadequate potable water supply, creating an enabling environment that could lead to a possible cholera outbreak in that part of the country. We shall come back to this report on the training of soldiers in the northwest region on the detection and detonation of explosive devices in a subsequent news editions. Now to the southwest region of the country, where the customs administration has been struggling to survive in the difficult socio-political and security climate as a result of the 5-year or 6-year long armed conflict going on in the northwest and southwest regions of the country. And authorities of the customs department or administration and now striving to improve on the working conditions of the customs department employees who are working in the southwest region in difficult conditions, as David Maimo reports.
The Southwest Customs sector suffered some setbacks since the escalation of the Anglophone crisis, with some posts working below capacity, others completely shut down due to hostilities in the area. This brought down Cameroon Director General of Customs from Yaoundé to the Southwest region.
There are some who are still working at under very difficult conditions, like my chief of post at Bakassi, the one at Otu, Isangele, Lobe, and the rest.
In an in-camera meeting with Southwest top customs officials after visiting the Tiko Wharf, Sonora Custom Post, Bota Wharf, the Cameroon Custom Boss encouraged and assured them of government determination to improve their working conditions.
Minister of Finance asked that I should come and talk to them, tell them that he's aware of the difficulties. We know the challenges that they are facing. We're with them, we stand by them, and we'll continue to encourage them and solve the problems that those challenges are posing.
FACO truck transporters of import and export goods in a separate meeting with the Cameroon Custom Boss table a series of worries.
Our difficulties is the situation of the road, the bad roads we have from the ports to the main road. The ports, we don't actually have ports in the southwest region. The ports are already bad. They are no more for use, but we still keep on managing them, which is not the right thing. But we don't have a choice.
You know, we're partners, and so I came to tell them that we're happy that they're collaborating with the customs administration, and that if revenue has kept on being okay in the southwest, it's also thanks to them.
Despite the setbacks, the Southwest Customs sector is said to have recorded an impressive revenue collection for the first quarter of the 2022 financial year.
And we still review Davidson Maimo in Limbe to say that with all hands on deck, the fight against cholera is yielding fruits in that part of the country, with the drop in the number of persons infected with the disease. And of course, Davidson Maimo reports that the communities, the people and the health officials are putting hands together to put an end to the spread of cholera in that part of the country after the death of tens of persons. His report.
The gradual and steady drop of cholera-related cases in the seaside resort city of Limbe has been largely attributed to a positive collaboration between health officials and the community. At the Mukiba Farms quarter, covering part of Gardens, Mbindi and Ambas Bay, Limbe district health officials, backed by the Red Cross, with support from the various youth groups within the quarter, disinfected more than 300 pit toilets. Mukiba Farms quarter head, Teke George, says,
I bring up the youth to fight, to disinfect toilet and to destroy toilets that are full. I've already done 4 and I still have to do another.
The disinfection exercise was not an easy task.
I give you 1 month. When I can't see the toilet, I will broken down. Then I take you for the state council.
The youth leaders say the fight against the cholera epidemic should be a collective effort.
We come up massively to help the government and help personnel to fight against this cholera that has really caused a high disaster here in Limbe.
The disinfection exercise shall involve all the quarters.
We came to, first of all, educate the youths on the need of cleanliness, because they say cleanliness is next to godliness. And after that, we began to disinfect the houses and toilets against the cholera infection, which is affecting the Limbe community.
More than 30 persons have lost their lives since Limbe was hit by the cholera epidemic.
A baby miraculously saved after 48 hours on the ground in Banikana in the west region of the Republic of Cameroon. Another baby discovered dead here in Cameroon's economic capital, dwell around the Feng, Goudron, Omispo neighborhoods. Manjikan Gabriel has more.
Emanuela is the mother to the baby who was buried alive and exhumed 48 hours later in Bangante of the West region. The mother, who is an internally displaced person living in Banikane, buried her baby because she lacked the means of taking care of the baby, which happened to be her fault. It was at a construction site in the Banikane neighborhood that neighbors discovered the baby and rushed the baby to the hospital. For now, Emanuela has been left by the side of the baby, who is still alive after spending 48 hours beneath the ground. In Douala, it was a huge crowd that was present at a drainage situated in Fengoudron Omnisport in the Douala 5 subdivision. They all came to see the lifeless body of a newborn baby who was dumped by a mother.
I'll be at my house.
I was home when my junior brother informed me that the baby has been thrown. From every indication, the woman put to bed normally. All women are to be checked, but I'm convinced it is not a woman from this neighborhood.
Oh, my friend will not be there, but the only thing I said, the picking up command on Miss Paul. We will not get them for Miss Paul or the born.
Alerted about the macabre discovery, the forces of law and order descended to the scene to take first-hand information to open investigation. The baby was later packaged in a carton and taken away by the Douala 5 council official for burial.
An aged widow sends distress calls to the Littoral Regional Administration over the demolition of a house in the Douala 2 neighborhood. Brandishing a building permit, she qualifies the demolition as unjust. Innocent Aze has more.
She is not mourning her husband who died 4 years ago. Rather, her house demolished by council agents. We are in Kolmitak, in the Douala 2 subdivision, precisely at Rue de Paravier.
Voilà mon lit. Voilà mon lit, chef. Voilà mon lit. Je vais dormir où?
This granny recounts she was surprised early Thursday by council agents ordering her outside for demolition of her house.
He said, "Mommy, come on, I go kill you."
This granny says no reason was given.
They never talk. They don't program that so. They cover a program.
Ils n'ont même pas voulu causer avec nous, rien.
Her grandmother was given no time to remove her belongings.
All my people where they go for hospital, by here they cry. All my medicine where they drink.
An act they term unjust because
Le problème qui se passe ici, c'est les gens de la commune.
during renovation of the house that was constructed here since 1960, council agents stopped by and marked a stop, giving 72 hours for them to evacuate or pay the sum of 50,000 francs CFA before continuing renovation works. On April 4, the demanded sum was paid with a receipt issued.
Elle est revenue avec le papier, nous a montré.
Pleas to give and present them the receipt were ignored with merciless destruction of her house.
I said, well, I'll show you papier. They say, come on, look.
Seated frustrated after the demolition, she had no other choice than struggle to fish out her properties and those of her grandchildren. They are now homeless.
Just like the widows, several persons are lamenting over the demolition of their homes in the Senge neighborhood in Yupwe, in Mabanda, and several other parts of the country's economic capital, Douala. And in order to avoid these problems linked to urbanization, UN Habitat is working with local authorities and other partners to mitigate, or why not avoid, such devastating consequences of poor urbanization efforts, and also to avoid the poor management of displaced persons. They are in the hundreds of thousands, particularly in the Mabanda neighborhood and the rest of the Douala municipality. Persons kicked out of their homes by violence in the northwest and southwest regions, and also in the far north region, and are seeking refuge in the very difficult conditions in the Douala municipality. This further complicating efforts of urbanization, and the UN Habitat officials are now working with local authorities in order to better manage all of these issues connected to urbanization efforts. And this was on the table during a recent workshop in the Douala municipality, and the UN officials are striving to help the local communities, the local authorities, to better carry on with urbanization projects while avoiding such devastating and disturbing consequences on the population who see their homes destroyed and many of them homeless. And of course, now take a listen to one of the UN officials who was there and one of the quarter heads in the Douala municipality in this extract.
We gather almost all the stakeholders that we can gather that intervene here in Douala 4 and at Douala city also, in order to define a urban strategic vision and a shared vision for the future, because this is really important to develop Douala 4, but also the neighborhood that we are selected.
They have equally talked about the ports, the space that the ports want to occupy for their development. Well, we have heard it. They say there is the lycée there, and they say there's a government bilingual high school that is there. There is the government technical college that is there. Well, it is administration. I said it the other day that that's government. If they want to displace the people, the school, to somewhere inside Mambanda, we had earlier reserved areas like near the market, between the market and Gesam. There's a space of 5,000 meters square there that was meant for the government bilingual primary school. But
Christians begin celebrating Easter, and that started today with Holy Thursday. And on this day, the Christians are remembering and projecting the example of humility taught by Jesus to his disciples when he washed his feet, and also the Lord's Supper. Details with Immaculate Thope.
Christians in Cameroon are now preparing to commemorate the Passion, death and resurrection of our Lord Jesus Christ. In the Catholic Church, Holy Thursday marks the beginning of Easter celebrations. On Holy Thursday, Christ ate the Last Supper with his disciples and thus instituted the Holy Eucharist. Christ at the same time instituted the ministerial priesthood. Apart from confessions and anointing of the sick, no other sacrament is administered on this day. The next day, which is Good Friday, Christians will be commemorating the crucifixion and death of Jesus Christ. Christians on this day will meditate on Jesus' suffering and death on the cross through stations of the cross. Good Friday also marks the end of the 40-day fasting period for Christians called Lent. In the morning, we will have Stations of the Cross, and at 3 p.m. we will celebrate the Passion and death of our Lord Jesus Christ. It is a day for us to pray, fast, and practice abstinence. At the Evangelical Church of Cameroon, the same exercise will be carried out. Despite the difficulties and sufferings we face on a daily basis, we are called upon by Christ to understand that God will not abandon us. He's teaching us that pain and suffering is normal, but victory will definitely come at the end. On Easter Sunday, churches will officially commemorate the resurrection of our Lord.
Christians commemorating the example of Jesus, the example of humility, and also the Last Supper. Onto something else now, news out of the Republic of Cameroon. Many survivors of the floods in Durban, South Africa, are homeless, hurt, and heartbroken. A state of disaster has been declared in the region after months worth of rainfall in just one day. In some areas, more than 300 people have died. More than 6,000 homes have been reportedly damaged. The scale of damage to infrastructure has been vast, with electricity and water supplies. Heat rescue missions are being undertaken, with some residents evacuated to places of safety, but large parts of the KwaZulu-Natal province remain submerged, including highways and roads. Some communities remain totally cut off. And that's it for the first part of this newscast. Talking Point is up next. Thank you for staying with us in Talking Points. Today we are receiving a young political leader. Mba Rahul is the youth president of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement CRM political party for the Northwest region. You're welcome.
Special greetings to you, Sir Babla. Special greetings to all the youths that are putting effort to see that we change the political narrative in our country, Cameroon.
Your president, or your party president, Professor Maurice Kamto, now joins the team of lawyers defending the detainees of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement who are detained in different incarceration centers across the Republic of Cameroon. Inmates which you qualify as political detainees. What's the meaning of Professor Maurice Kamto? What can we read in this action by Professor Maurice Kamto joining the team of lawyers to defend his militants?
Sir Babla, I want to first of all believe that as per the ongoing persecution that some of our political prisoners that stood up for the ongoing strike to demonstrate for the ongoing crisis in Northwest and Southwest, that it should stop. But it was rather unfortunate that they were arrested, and upon that, despite the challenges that some of the lawyers, they went for to see that some of them, maybe they shouldn't be tried in a military court. And with a lot of challenges that we faced. So at a certain moment, we had to drop down our position. The lawyers, they have to drop down their position, because going in for a court like a military court, which was supposed to be in charge for military, but it was there to judge civilian, it was really sad. So at a certain point, it was like was boring. So we decided that by trying to go in, it's like we are legitimizing the legality in Cameroon, whereas we know that law does not exist. That is why we thought it wise to withdraw. So the national president, Professor Maurice Kamto, joining the team is of a good interest because of a lot of factors, which I want to first of all start by. However,
Raul, before you continue, if you can just sit back like that, if you can just sit back, that's much better, so we can see you clearly. Go ahead, please.
So what I'm saying is, some of the political comrades were simply arrested, and we have put a lot of effort to see that we stop this. But upon our effort, we kept preconditions. So the first conditions were we will not continue with the case insofar as the military the trial is being held in the military court. So the precondition was held. And that is why the national president, Professor Maurice Kamto, had to join it, because the government finally had to react to finally discharge the case from a military court to a civilian court. And it is within our own capacity and with the capacity of the national president as a lawyer to join the effort now to see that their case is being heard. Because we have seen his effort, even during the trial of Agobala, it was thanks to the initiative of the president of the national, together with Ayapo. It was thanks to his effort we saw how finally they were released. So his effort of joining the other lawyers is to equally see how they can continue to demand for the release of all those that were arrested. Mr. Babla, it should, however, be noted that most of these our political prisoners, like for example, we have Barrister Wasum Mispa, the president of the Women Wing. He was charged on rebellion, terrorism. So if the government of the country now is saying that he's transferring the case from a military court, sending back to a civil jurisdiction, it means it is somehow to prove to the world that the case was unfounded. So I think that instead of wasting time, the president should just take it upon himself to give a presidential pardon to all these political prisoners, because this is not a time for us to be playing political game. We have the outbreak of the cholera, which it has proven beyond reasonable doubt that the president or under the administration cannot be able to manage these political prisoners that are locked up in the various detention centers. We have, it's rather unfortunate that we lost one of our political comrades. I'm talking about Rodrigue, as a result of cholera. So it's within my own capacity to join the voice to make sure that we join the campaign to see that this issue should be brought to an end, rather than wasting time. Because one of the reason why most of us had to withdraw, or the lawyers had to withdraw their robe, was first of all because of the delayance, constant adjournment. And we know when you delay law, is indirectly denying justice. So I believe that at this particular moment, the president can do something. That is why the national president, together with his lawyer, had to join the effort to see that these political prisoners are released.
What's the situation of the Women's Wing president, Awasum Mispa, and the others who have been in detention for quite a long period of time now? What's their health situation, their mental situation, the physical situation?
To be honest, Babla, with the situation of the national women president, if we want to first of all ask why was she arrested? Because if you want to look as of now, the effort that Barrister Wasum Mispa has put forth to see that we bring women in politics, women in emancipation, financial strain, which has been one of those difficulties that women don't want to engage into politics. So, to be honest, with her present situation, is really sad, because the hell which she's going through is not something for us to really sit and talk. The truth, at least he needs to go back to his family. Look at his children; they are suffering. But I want to believe, if you look at the human capacity, the human intellect of Barrister Wansum, if the government of this country can bring her on board, is going to bring a lasting solution to most of our plight. Because, to be honest, she is really patriotic for the nation. But I don't know why the government decided to instead use the policy of, I don't know, division in politics, or trying to put opposition leader at the point of death, which is not the best solution for nation building. Because I quite remember the president has always called upon, saying that women are running away from politics. So if a lady of that nature, a lady that is dynamic, to come on board to see how she helped her nation, today she has been sentenced 7 years in prison. And that is why when the government had to call for this issue to be brought within the civil jurisdiction, it means, I want to believe that on the charges of rebellion, terrorism, which was levied against her, I think that maybe, since the case will be heading now in the civil jurisdiction, it is going to look for a lasting solution. And I want to play, this is not the time for political game. Let her be released. Let the other political prisoners like Olivier Bibumnisa, Professor Alain Fogel, they should be released. What are they doing there?
All right.
So it's really sad.
You politicians of the opposition have often expressed distrust in the judicial system of the country. The move from the military court to the civilian court, is it a sign of hope?
To be honest with you, I just have a positive thinking, Mr. Babla, because right now I don't know the fate. If the president of the republic, or whatsoever system they are brought to send the issue from a military court to a civilian court, I want to believe that it's a hope, because that is why we took it upon our initiative that we should, as a party that respect the rule of law, that we should not base ourselves on assumption. So we should just give a try. If at the end nothing is being heard, so it is left now for Cameroonians to judge within themselves, to know that with the system we are operating is under this type of system. But as a positive thinker, I believe that the president, upon all the advocacy that we have been doing, I think that it is a sign of hope that things are going to change. They are going to be released.
And the involvement of the president too should be a sign of hope to the militants who are being detained, and to every other person sympathizing with the detainees.
Yeah, Sir Babla, actually it's a sign of hope, like what you just said, because I want to believe that the primary reasons why the national president, together with other collective lawyers, they had to join this initiative to put on their rope, was just because of numerous reasons. Like I cited the issue of taking the issue from the military court, bringing back to a civilian court. There are other reasons like humanitarian dimension. We know about the outbreak. Families, members of the detainees, they have been crying that they need their family ones back, they need it. And that is why, because of the good faith we had within the CRM, we decided, and together with the political prisoners, in close collaboration with them, they decided that they are going to put on their rope to see that they continue the demand and the campaign. And I believe that they are going to be released not long from now.
But the question here is, how far can he go? How far can he, the national president of the CRM political party, and in his posture as a lawyer, an internationally recognized and acclaimed lawyer, how far can he go in bringing solutions to those who are expecting freedom from him, those who are expecting him to fight and obtain their freedom?
Sir Babla, I said, like, within my own capacity capacity, as a positive thinker, I believe and have the hope that he is going to do something which is going to at least give, because if by the virtue of the government bringing the issue from the military court to a civil jurisdiction court is going to, is some sort of hope. So within my capacity, I cannot say, maybe give what that I don't know, maybe tomorrow is not in direction to what I am saying. So I believe that with the hope is going to pave a way, because we have seen the effort of the CRM. He has not relented its effort even to demand the release of political prisoners. So we are going to put our effort together with other, I can't say together with other patriotic Cameroonians with the campaign, because despite the fact that some of these lawyers drop their rub down, we still continue with the campaign. So I know that there is hope that these our political prisoners are going to be released not long from now.
Mba Rahul, youth leader, member of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement, CRM political party, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, sir. Babla. Thank you once more.
Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. In less than 20 minutes, Serge Long and his guests will be in your homes with Equinoxe. Stay with us.